start with how this journey kind of played out after you committed to UCLA. When did conversations with Wisconsin just pick up again? Did you reach out, or did they reach out? How did it just kind of go down?
Yeah, so communication with Max specifically, me and him built a really strong relationship throughout the whole process. So me and him talked basically ever since I had decommitted. He had called me like the day after I had originally committed to UCLA and just said that he was proud of me and the way I handled the situation and stuff like that, which meant a lot to me. And then actually sent me Dylan Jones' commitment edit when he committed, and he was just saying how he was all fired up and stuff like that. So, and then kind of as I started putting out my senior film is when he was really like, so when you coming back home, kind of like jokingly. But then, you know, he was like being serious and was like, hey, can we get you on the phone with Coach Leton and stuff like that? And that's when it started to pick up a little more. And and they wanted to get me back for games, so I came back for a few games.
Did that surprise you at all, the way you handle that? Sometimes in this business it can be double birds. See you later. And does that make it easier to come back knowing that there wasn't a relationship to repair?
Yeah, that's actually a great point, because they could have easily just been like, all right, screw you, like, whatever, which is why it was easier for me to come back, because they made me know that I was wanted, in their program, which meant a lot for me. So that was important, obviously. And then there wasn't, when we started talking again, it was like nothing ever happened. That's kind of the way they approached it. How I approached it, it was just like not back to square one, but back to where we were at, just with communication.
When did you start to reconsider Wisconsin again, and why?
At first, I was kind of like, hey, we're just kind of talking. I'm close to these guys, whatever. Then after I got to a few games, I'd say that's kind of when, probably after the Ohio State game, was when I was like, all right, this is like something serious I could consider. And obviously I did. So, but yeah, after I got to a few games was when I'd say.
Why the Ohio State game? What kind of just stuck out to you in that one that made you feel like, okay, I should be here?
I guess it wasn't really the game specifically, but I mean, obviously that game was a night game. The atmosphere was electric, and they were competing with Ohio State for the most part, in their top program in the entire country. So that was exciting to watch. And then I just felt like home when I was there. A ton of recruits were at that game that I knew. I was talking with them the whole day. It was just a really fun day, and it just felt like, all right, I need to be here.
And then can you kind of address just the initial decommitment from Wisconsin? Obviously, a lot of rumors flying around. You visited UCLA. What just kind of happened between you and the staff that you felt you needed to rip the Band-Aid off then?
Yeah, it wasn't anything with me and the staff specifically.
Okay.
I would just say when I made the decision, I was just trying to look out for my future in a sense, which after further reflection realized that wasn't the right move, especially after, kind of like I said before, just like that gut feeling. So yeah, I mean, in UCLA offered a lot that I liked, and I still love both schools, but they just had a lot to offer that I liked, especially just being far. That's kind of like what I wanted to do too, or that was where my head was at, was get away from home. So.
Well, was that a hard call to make to Wisconsin? I mean, you committed very early in your recruitment. That was the obvious choice for you. You grew up a Badger fan. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you to have to call them up and say and tell them no initially?
Yeah, it sucked. The day that I did, I was taking phone calls like all day from the staff, and my mom too. She wanted me to make sure that it was like the right decision for me and things like that. So it was a rough day. It was a rough week, really. I mean, it was a lot for me to deal with, but it is what it is, So.
Your dad kind of talked about the moment he knew, you coming back to Wisconsin. It was, after you made a couple visits, you just said you never felt anything like you felt, walking out of that Camp Randall tunnel. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of just take me through some of those visits, walking out there, and maybe what you were feeling?
Yeah, it was. I mean, there's nothing like it, especially having the chance to actually play a game in the state championship there. Just running down to that tunnel, especially after I scored my first touchdown, I was like, dude, I want to score touchdowns here, And it goes back to that gut feeling. I was like, I need to be here. So.
And then calling UCLA, it sounds like you told them about a week and a half ago, and I'm sure it's easier given that their tight ends coach was leaving, so you kind of had an out anyway.
Yeah.
But what was that conversation like to have to do it a week and a half before you're supposed to sign?
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly pretty smooth. Pretty sure my tight end coach knew he was going to be taking the job, so he wasn't as like, I mean, he obviously was, but he definitely knew that he wasn't going to be staying there, and he understood too. I mean, he just took a job at Austin Peay State, which is in his home state. He's from Tennessee originally, so he understood and he respects my decision, and he cared about me. He cares about me and my family. I care about him, so he understood everything.
So you committed to Coach Gino initially, who left like a week later for Notre Dame, and you had to rebuild a relationship with Coach Leton. Just what do you think about him as a coach and a person, and maybe how was he able to get the deal done during that in-home visit with you?
Yeah, I love Coach Leton. He's super cool. I've always been super cool with him. Even when Coach Gino was on the staff at the junior day, I was with both of them. So I had known him since Gino was here and been pretty close to him for the most part. So yeah, but my relationship with Coach Leton is really good. He's a really cool dude, really good coach, so I'm excited to work with him.
This offense, obviously, from the Wisconsin you grew up with to what it is now, is kind of night and day. You had some bumps in the road this season, but also showed a lot of flashes. What did you think of what they're trying to do offensively? Obviously, not all the pieces are there to really do what they want to do, but how do they just want to use you, in the air raid?
Yeah, so obviously stretch the field. I think that's kind of their vision for me, is just be that guy who can create mismatches and stretch the field. And as far as like watching their offenses, like you said, I know they kind of had some bumps in there, but that's why they're bringing in our class and other guys to build what they want. And I'm with Coach Fick's vision on where the future of the program is headed, and the rest of the staff. So I see eye to eye with them.
You've obviously been under a lot of stress since the whole UCLA thing over the summer. How does it feel just to kind of have it be done with? In a month, you're going to step on Wisconsin's campus and be a Badger.
Really good. I've been wanting, ever since football season here ended, I've wanted to go to college. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to work with the Badger family. Excited to get to work with the other early enrollees that are coming in. I can't be more excited.